What's going on, guys? Welcome to Final Fantasy Way back to this video, and today we're going to talk about some units that have been getting some secret buffs. So basically the same thing how Global was getting buffs on the reworks on like Roberta and all those kind of units like Esther. I think she got a secret rework, right? So those units that got secret reworks back then. It's the same thing here. So lately the JP side has been introducing buffs to 7-star units. They've somewhat announced some of them, but then some of them kind of just did on their own. In this video, we will not be talking about enhancements for certain units because that's not really directly correlating to any kind of secret buffs they may have gotten. So no enhancements here. Save your comments for that. There's not going to be any enhancement talk here. Only secret buffs. And whether that means that they'll be getting a New Vision Awakening or not is still in question, because that could still happen. There hasn't been a Final Fantasy X event yet. We're talking about Tdis, so we don't know yet. So let's get into the first one. And I will not be talking about every little tiny minor buff that they may have gotten. This is we're going to be talking about the most significant ones. So his STMR of Dark Knight Cecil got 20 times mod buff for his finisher Darkness. And his STMR also got changed to being 100% TDH from 100% DH. So that's a pretty decent change. Soul Over, which is, I think is cool, it has its cooldown, now has a 9 basically permanent duration of 200% attack, 200% human killer, 30 times mod buff to Darkness. Instead of having to use his new ability, the FFBE buff ability, he just has permanent triple cast, which is good. So there's no reason to do that. 5 times cap or 500% cap increase. So you're just lightning and he has 6 times. 100% attack, defense, magic, and spirit, and HP buff to his passive. Very good. Little burst damage gives a 40 times mod permanently to Darkness as well, and also he gets 9,999 heal per turn. So that's pretty good, because remember he's a Dark Knight, so he's going to be sacrificing a lot of HP to be able to use his finishing maneuvers, which is Darkness, I'm pretty sure at this point. And so yeah, those are some pretty good buffs. This was at the very beginning though, so these aren't really the most insane buffs of all time, but they're pretty decent. I mean, they can compete with 7 stars, and you guys may have already seen all the meme videos with Dark Knight Cecil anyways, with people clearing with him and on the JB side and whatnot. So you got old Tdis here, and I put a picture here just so you guys know which one I'm talking about. His TMR is now 180 attack plus 50% beast killer. That's a pretty good buff. Get pumped now is the 32 times mod doesn't matter, but it is a 250% attack, defense, magic, and spirit buff for everybody, which is pretty good. He has permanent triple cast instead of having to unlock it. Jet Shot 2, it is changed into a cooldown of having the modifier doesn't matter, AoE, water imbue, and also AoE 25% water amp. So that's pretty good. And Jet Shot 1 is basically a mini version of that cooldown, where it's just 15% water amp instead of 25, but it still has the water imbue and stuff. Blitz Mania gives 100% one burst damage AoE, which is okay. It's not the best AoE buff, but it's there in case you need it. And also the biggest change, which I've used in one of my videos for one-shotting Bahamut, is 135% water imperil, which is really big water imperil. So that's the biggest change for Tdis, I would say. And also the Jet Shot 2 being changed is also good. Lily Set, one of the recent changes, she has now on her Limit Burst 150% AoE Limit Burst damage, 100% human physical and magical killer, and still that 20 Limit Burst gauge at the next turn. I just wanted it at that there, but so now you have some access to human killer that's not on a New Vision unit. That's good. Her Thorn Stance now gives 50% physical mitigation instead of 30. Get distracted and you'll get hurt is now, it's one of those unlock moves, is now a 280% attack and magic buff. And there's some small mod buffs and changes like that there. So these are the most significant ones, which is pretty good. And I think that Hopefully she gets Neo Vision Awakening, because her enhancements were okay, but they weren't amazing. They didn't give her triple cast permanently or anything like that, unfortunately. You still have to use that one move, the Thorn Stance, to unlock all those other moves. It only lasts for one turn, or one use, I mean, so you have to constantly keep using it. Okay. Well, it's still good. Wizard of Shantoto got a buff as well. By the way, I will not be talking about any kind of Chronicle Battle buffs, because those are just a separate issue entirely. So if you're going to be wondering, hey, why did you talk about this weapon that got, Chronicle Battle buff? Well, we're not going to be talking about that in this video. Only secret buffs. So Wizard of Shantoto's S-Team it was already the best robe in the game. It had the highest magic, and now it has 50% limit burst damage on top of that. So finally, mages finally have access to more limit burst damage instead of having to awkwardly equip, other things that aren't so good, like swords, S-Team and whatnot, just because, yeah. Play Rough, which is the cooldown, is now a 250% limit burst damage buff. She got some mod buffs, and she got some better Imperials, 120%. Not going to list all of them, but she got some mod buffs and all of her chaining abilities. And her limit burst, which is the biggest change, 60 times 50% defense, spirit ignore, is dark magic AoE damage. Pretty good. I don't know why there's a comma there, whoops. But yeah, pretty big change, and she still gets that limit burst crystal fill for everybody after you use it. Or if it's on the next turn, I can't remember. But that's still a pretty good change. I think that apparently she's almost as strong as most Neo Vision Awakened mages, and she's not even a Neo Vision Awakened unit yet, so that's good. Crown Prince Noctis, I think this is like the leader of what most people know about this guy, because he's on the spreadsheet, of course. So he was on the spreadsheet, everybody knows about him, so I'm just going to go over why he's so strong now. Point Blank Warp Strike, and that's the one that you are using at the end of all those other moves. Now it's a 24.5 times mod, the other one stays the same. And that's a lot higher, and now he also has Fairy and Undead Killer buffs to 150% from 100%. The other ones are staying at 150%. All the moves at the bottom, his weapon types, the 9.5 times mod buff abilities are now 50 times mod buffs, which you can already tell if you're getting a 50-50-50-50, and then his mod is already 24.5 times. You can see why he's such a strong finisher now, right? His limit burst it's not the most amazing thing, but he can chain it 65 times with a 50% defense ignore to all enemies, which is good for a 7-star. It's very good. He also has 6 times cap, 600%. And finally, the True King Awakened is now 300% full stat buff, and also for himself, of course, and also 2 more turns for the Awakened Army Gear Plus, but I don't think anyone uses that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember ever using that, so it's whatever. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a 300% buff, so it's really good. Lunafree got some small changes as well. Light of Peace is now a 16k HP and 160 MP regen, which is a lot better than 12k and 120. And also Benevolence of the Gods is 230% attack, magic, defense, and spirit buff, 75% limit burst damage AoE, and also all the abilities that unlock when you use this ability now give 120% peril from 100%, and also 10% damage amp for that correlating element. Her limit burst is now 250% attack, magic, defense, and spirit buff. She gets the Leviathan Zone effect, which will give water, magic, damage, and amp as well, separate from other buffs. If you guys need to know more about zone effects, I made a whole video about that, so go check that out later. And she gets 75% Aquatic Killer, which is good, because there's not a lot of Aquatic Killer in the game, so that's good. Tcar, one of the recent additions, got some small changes. Super Wink is now 100% magic cover chance instead of a slightly less chance. Preemptive physical cover. This is in his 5-star kit because he had preemptive physical cover for one ally, or so it wasn't really preemptive, it was just like a chance to cover, I think. Now he just has preemptive cover for everybody. His Mind and Block Charm give defense or spirit breaks of 75% instead of whatever else it was. Dangerous Rose, I just added this here just because I know someone might comment about it, but it's not that big of a deal because it's free energy, but the modifier did increase. And Earthbound, that's kind of funny to even say that. on the cooldown, and now it's 100. He has access to 120% Earth and Peril, which is nice. So those are some decent changes. And finally, we got some other smaller changes of things that happened way before a lot of secret buffs started happening. Like the original Squall, his TMR is now 167 attack, 50% human killer, which is good, and also his STMR gets buffed to 60% from 55, and 3 Lone First Crystals per turn instead of 2. Tdis TMR gets buffed to 150 attack and magic. It still has the dark element tied to it, but it's still 150 attack and magic, which is pretty decent. And also his STMR got buffed to 100% attack and magic buff. Or not, it's not a buff, it's just like just like it was before, 80% attack, now it's 100% attack and magic. It's still, you're still taking 2k hit per turn, so I still don't think it's worth it. Just taking damage per turn is really not that big of, like, it's not that big of a deal if you have it in certain situations, but I still probably wouldn't equip it. Because they're just, like, all it is just an EP. Most times you want to be equipping killers and whatnot, so it's really not that big of a deal still. But in case you guys are wondering, it is better now. Kimono Ayaka's TMR got buffed to have, it's the robe, 50% light resistance, now has 50% Esper stats instead of 10. And her STMR with the hat, now it's 4 Lone First Crystals per turn instead of 2, I believe. And also a new addition of 50% Esper stats, which is good. Kimono Fina's TMR got given 50% Magical Avian Killer, which is a new addition, like I mentioned. And her STMR gets 75% Avian Magic Killer, which is pretty good. So far, those are all the changes, I believe. I checked I dotted my I's and crossed my T's, or whatever you say on that kind of stuff. I made sure to research everything I possibly could for you guys, and I think that's it. Now there's another unit called Theodore, which Global does not have. I don't know when that's. I don't think he's ever gonna come out. So he's getting a secret buff in the future. Apparently they let the cat out of the bag that there's gonna be a Final Fantasy IV event soon. Well, not soon, but it will. There is a Final Fantasy IV event in the pipeline. They basically let out the cat out of the bag and saying, "Hey, we're gonna buff Theodore when the Final Fantasy IV event comes around." So they basically, yeah. And there was a Rat Mage Marie got buffed, but she's not on the global side, so I decided not to talk about her because most of you guys are global players and you guys don't want to hear about JP only units, right? That's gonna be it for this video, guys. I know this is a long video, but I appreciate you guys watching. Yeah, again, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate ya. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you like this. Make sure to leave a subscription if you're new around here, because I do these kind of videos often. Make sure to hit that notification bell, because it's not a meme. It really does make a big difference. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.